Look at this murky, polluted water right next to a massive, multi-million-dollar water treatment plant. It's a complex, expensive, human-made solution to a human-made problem. But what if I told you that nature already built a perfect living machine to do this exact same job, but better? A machine that costs almost nothing, self-replicates, and creates entire ecosystems as a byproduct. Meet the humble oyster. That's right. This little bivalve mollusk is one of the most powerful and efficient water purifiers on the planet. When you see an oyster, you're not just looking at a potential appetizer. You're looking at a tireless environmental engineer. It feeds by filtering water, which means its entire existence is dedicated to cleaning its home, and by extension, our planet's waterways. So, how does this tiny, unassuming creature pull off such a monumental task? It all comes down to a process called siphoning. An oyster has two siphons. It uses one to draw in water from its throat. This water then passes over its gills, which aren't just for breathing. The gills are covered in tiny, hair-like structures called cilia that are coated in a layer of mucus. Think of it as a superfine biological conveyor belt. As water flows over them, these sticky gills act like a natural sieve, trapping all sorts of particles where, talking algae, sediment, nitrogen, phosphorus, and even certain pollutants. The oyster then sorts through these particles, consumes the good stuff as food, and bundles the rest into a little package that drops to the sieve. What's left is crystal clear, filtered water, which is then expelled back out through the oyster. Ese se consipon. It's a constant, rhythmic cycle of inhale, filter, eat, exhale, clean, a truly elegant design. Now, let's talk about the sheer power of this process. The numbers are simply staggering. A single healthy adult oyster can filter up to 50 gallons of water every single day. Let that sink in. 50 gallons, that's like this entire stack of 51-gallon jugs, cleaned by one little guy in just 24 hours. Now, imagine not just one oyster, but an entire oyster reef, with millions of individuals all working together. We're talking about billions of gallons of water being filtered daily. An entire estuary can be transformed from a murky, oxygen-deprived dead zone back into a thriving, clear water habitat, all thanks to these living filtration plants. This isn't just theory. We can see it happen right before our eyes. There's a classic and incredibly compelling experiment that demonstrates this power perfectly. Picture two identical fish tanks sitting side by side. Both are filled with the same murky, green, algae-filled water. The water is so cloudy you can't see through it. In one tank, we place a small cluster of live oysters. The other tank remains empty. As our control, then we just let nature do its thing and watch. Within just a couple of hours, you start to see a dramatic change. The water in the oyster tank begins to clear. The green haze dissipates. After about 3 to 4 hours, the transformation is complete. The water in the tank with the oysters is almost crystal clear, while the control tank remains a cloudy green mess. It's a powerful visual testament to the incredible filtering capacity of these animals. They're literally eating the pollution. But the oyster's job description doesn't end with water filter TRA Watt. Biologists call ecosystem engineers, meaning they actively build and shape their environment, creating benefits that ripple throughout the entire food web. When oysters grow, They don't just spread out, they grow on top of each other, forming complex, three-dimensional structures known as oyster reefs. These reefs are like bustling underwater cities. The nooks, crannies, and crevices of the reef provide crucial shelter and nursery grounds for hundreds of other species. Small fish, shrimp, crabs, and other invertebrates find refuge from predators and a place to raise their young. These smaller creatures, in turn, become food for larger fish, birds, and other wildlife, supporting a vibrant and diverse ecosystem. A single oyster reef can support hundreds of species, making them hotspots of biodiversity. Without the reef, many of these animals would have nowhere to live. Furthermore, these reefs play a critical role in protecting our coastlines. They act as natural bridges. As waves roll in from the open ocean, they hit the solid structure of the oyster reef. The reef absorbs and dissipates that wave energy, calming the water behind it. This reduces the force of waves hitting the shore, which in turn prevents coastal erosion. During major storms and hurricanes, a healthy oyster reef can significantly reduce flooding and protect coastal communities, wetlands, and infrastructure from damage. They are a living, growing, self-repairing seawall. So, they clean the water, build homes for other animals, and protect our shores from storms. Is there anything they can't do? Given all these incredible benefits, you'd think we'd be protecting them at all costs. But sadly, the opposite is true. Historically, vast oyster reefs stretched 4 miles along our coastlines. But over the last century, a combination of factors has decimated these populations. Overharvesting removed oysters faster than they could reproduce. Pollution from industry and agriculture created conditions where they couldn't survive. And diseases wiped out entire populations. It's estimated that we've lost over 85% of the world's oyster reefs. We effectively destroyed one of nature's most important and valuable assets. But here's the hopeful part of the story. We've recognized the problem, and people are taking action. All around the world, incredible oyster reef restoration projects are underway. Scientists, conservation groups, and dedicated volunteers are working to bring these vital ecosystems back. The process often involves creating a base for new oysters to settle on, using materials like recycled oyster shells, concrete, or other structures. Then, they plant baby oysters, Knauna spots, onto these new reefs. It's like underwater gardening. By giving them a helping hand and a safe place to grow, we can kickstart the recovery process. As these new reefs grow, they start filtering water, attracting wildlife, and protecting shorelines, once again recreating the virtuous cycle that was lost. So, the next time you think about solving our environmental problems, remember the oyster. It's a powerful reminder that sometimes the most advanced, effective, and sustainable solutions aren't brand new machines or complex chemical processes. Sometimes the best solution is simply to restore nature's own powerful living systems. By bringing back the oyster, we're not just cleaning our water, we're rebuilding entire ecosystems and strengthening our coastlines from the ground up. The humble oyster proves that a small creature can have a massive impact, and that working with nature rather than against it is our best path forward. Thanks for watching. If you found this as fascinating as I do, consider subscribing for more stories about the amazing natural world. See you next time.